Hello, it's Eugene, and this is my own undergrad series.
Beautiful. Eugene, let's jump right into our first question where we'll talk about the kind of person you were before getting into school. So could you just tell me, who were you before this program?
Before this program, I was a really shy person. I didn't really know how to talk to people like at all. So I kind of relied on using other forms of expression to kind of do that for me and hoping that would attract people so they would be willing to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be like make a drawing or painting or like perform a poem and then hopefully have people come up to me and praise me or something.
Yeah.
But, but I think that also kind of made me a more creative in that sense too. And so I was just a sensitive guy who just needed to kind of figure out a way how to be that around people.
Yeah, and it's especially interesting because this architecture program is so built on being social, like with making friends within the program, or when you go into co-ops, you have to be quite sociable to, get to know the people, and even just like when you're presenting. So that actually leads quite well into the next thing I wanted to ask you, which is, given where you're coming from, what do you think that special spark you showed in the interview process or portfolio or whatever, like what do you think was the reason that you got into this program?
I would say, I would like to say it's because, they found out I was a really introspective and caring person and translate that into design.
Yeah.
But I think a big thing was I was the only person that performed a poem.
Yeah.
At the end, I was at the last slot of the day, and so our interview was pretty much over, and then I asked, hey, can I perform a piece? And then they were like, you're the last person, go for it. And so I think that kind of made up for how kind of nervous I was and the lack of architectural knowledge I had, because they asked me who my favorite architect was, and I just said,
no.
Yeah, and I said Frank Wright. And they're like, do you know his middle name? I was searching the bookshelves looking for his name, but I was like,
oh my god,
Lloyd?
They know that question is such a trap when they pose it, because you're coming out of high school. I don't know how you're supposed to know that stuff. I still love it though.
Yeah, so it's probably that poem that saved me.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know what? If you stick around to the end, then you'll get to hear Eugene perform that slam poem. That one or an adjacent one? What do you think?
I would say an adjacent one. Yeah.
Okay, adjacent. All right. So obviously you got in. Congrats, Eugene. So what are some of the ways that this program has shaped who you are now?
I think a big thing I learned in this program was kind of, I had a bad idea, I think, of what being serious was. And it's something I learned through a it's something I learned kind of firsthand, but also kind of had it phrased really well listening to an interview with Paul Asher as the designer. He said there's a difference between serious and solemn. And if you're serious, you can still play, because play is such a big part of design. So I think loosening up and being open to kind of ideas to be hey, what about this? And then rip a bunch of trace and iterate like that. I think this program made me realize when to loosen up and not take myself so seriously and just be open. And that translated to everything, to talking with people, anything creative is that was a big thing, I think.
Whoa, that's actually a really good way to look at it that I've never thought about it, because there is a huge difference between serious and solemn.
It's design, you really do have to be open to a bunch of ideas, and you can't just be so stiff.
And the program's so long that it kind of forces you to mature, and it's got so many work experiences that I don't know, in first year I feel you put a lot more value onto being cool, whereas as you get more mature, I hope that's less of an emphasis. It turns more into taking it seriously in the right ways, like you were saying. So another thing that's related to that is, what is the most useful thing you've learned during your undergrad?
The most important thing I learned is just how important it is to be honest and I guess authentic to yourself.
Okay.
What you want and how you feel. I was really surprised, because coming in this program, we were asked that quite a bit with even crits with profs, is what your idea is, and they always say, what's your idea? And that was something that I had to learn to kind of be more vulnerable and be okay with kind of standing behind. And also dishonesty shows up pretty easily, and it sucks to be stuck with that idea for a long time. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so honestly, yeah, just being honest, and be honest with your idea. You can lie later on in renders and stuff. So
yeah, totally. Eugene, I feel like as long as I have known you and seen your design work, there's been an essential focus on personal voice. Like even just the first time, I think in 1A, when I saw your panels, I feel like they were something crazy. Like they were like all black, and then the text was white, and they had these like amazing like graphic shapes on them. It might have been,
was that 1A or 1B?
Maybe 1B.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think it was 1B, but like right away I was like, holy shit, this guy has a style, you know, a good style, of course, because it stuck with me all the way. And I feel like with everything I've seen you do, even if you were talking about, you know, in first year it's harder to be honest because you have maybe the wrong directions in your head, but you've always had a clarity of your own voice. It's always been your work that you're presenting. It doesn't feel as if it's trying to, you know, be someone else's. I was wondering if you could talk about maybe why that's so important to you, if it's something that you've had a chance to think about.
Good question. I think in the beginning it was kind of ego driven. It's just to kind of stand out. I needed a way to stand out, I think, and that was a big thing. But I think kind of later on, it became less ego driven, and I think now it's more of like, okay, how do I really feel? Which I guess is in a way is like also a way to stand out because I guess everyone is unique.
Yeah.
But you know, it got harder. It was almost easier when it was ego driven, to be honest. Yeah. And I feel like now when you're like, how do I actually feel and how to actually communicate that? That's way harder because if you're ego driven, you can just find something you think is prettier that no one else is doing and then just kind of do that. But when it's like you want to kind of show your own voice, then that's when it becomes hard. And like lately, it's been getting harder. So yeah.
Well, it's a worthwhile struggle, I think.
I would say so too.
It's one of the hardest ones, but definitely, I don't know. You never really find your voice, I would say. But as you get closer and closer to what's so important to you, like, I don't know, your work just gets better and better. Like what I've seen you produce, especially in the visual arts side, just as you've gotten more in tune with what's important to you or the people that are important to you, things like that, it's just gotten immensely strong.
Thank you. Thanks, yeah.
You're welcome.
It means a lot.
Back to the architecture side of things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Do you plan on becoming an architect? And like if you don't, what's the direction you're looking at here? What are you thinking about?
Okay. I feel like I ask myself or get asked this question so many times now.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not I'm going to be an architect like long term, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know though not immediately. At least I think for now I want to try something else. I want to have a bit of an adventure. I want to something that I didn't get from architecture that I want to try out is kind of have a more direct form of service. I think you know, one thing I was looking at doing and starting off, like I've started off this week, was kind of building a tattoo apprenticeship portfolio.
Oh.
And for that, it's like I like the fact that it's tattooing is like it's honest work.
Yeah.
And it's like direct, like you're the person tattooing on the person. It's like that direct service, and I like that simplicity. That I know what's going into it, and in that way I guess I get more comfortable with getting a paycheck than like, you know, because you know we've had days like you know, in a co-ops or whatever where it's like we do nothing for the day, and it's like there's no way I'm getting 8 hours for this, and like that feels weird.
Yeah.
So something where it's like, you know, from start to finish you're kind of control of that is both scary, but I think it's something that I'm really interested in, because even like, you know, in like summer job working at like being a busboy, that I enjoyed a lot because of how present you have to be, but also how direct that service was. So
yeah. Okay, you know what, that actually sounds very much up your alley, because I know you're very, very craft based, very craft oriented, so I can't imagine a more meaningful craft than to, without sounding weird, work on someone else's body, you know. And give someone else something permanent like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are things that I like not like about it as I learn more, like, because it is still very much a business and stuff. And
Yeah, that's true.
but for right now, I think instead of having like the end goal in mind, I think the next step is to just go with how I feel without that and try something different.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Okay. Well, our very last question for you, a great one to end on, because we love some positivity, some gratitude for who we are. Eugene, what makes you proud of who you are right this second?
Wow. I'm really good at self-deprecation, I think, so this is going to be a good exercise. The thing I think I'm good at, is that the question? Good at or most proud of?
Or what are you proud of about yourself? Like what, what do you think you have to...
Okay, a direct example of, so I think for me, I'm proud that I think I have an ability to make people comfortable and then also bring people together in some ways. I think for me, the thing I'm most, off the top of my head, most proud of, I think, in the time here was getting like all my housemates together for Rome and for even this term, the final term. Yeah. Where it was like, I was all friends with them individually, but I was not friends, but they were all friends together. And so to kind of ask all of them and put them under one roof and then working out, I think that's something that I'm pretty proud of.
It's funny because it's like, it sounds like such a simple thing, but it actually is quite amazing to bring together roommates and have people actually cooperate.
Oh yeah.
It's so much harder than you think.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because all the guys there have kind of big personalities, and so the fact that we all worked out was so relieving.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing how that manifests as well in the future.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks for talking to me today, Eugene. That was fantastic. Really appreciate your time. Yeah, do you have any final words other than your slam poetry that's coming up?
Oh, any final words? I think this is really cool what you're doing, Owen.
Thanks, Eugene.
I think it'll be fun to because there'd be so many people, this is something that we can kind of digest over time, and I think it'd be a great way to kind of still stay in touch and learn other sides of, of people in our class, because not everyone is as loud. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just great. I mean, it's loud.
It's true. It's true. Not everyone is loud. That's true.
Everyone's loud, but
there's a few. Well, awesome. Thank you so much also for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. And now we'll jump right into Eugene's slam poetry.
Okay, so this wasn't the exact poem that I read, but it was written at the same time in grade 12. So here we go. It's called Stefan. Stefan, I don't know if you know that your smile has the ability to split the clouds, letting the sun know what it's up against, or if seeing you in the halls brightens up my day like few people can. Stefan, I don't even know if you know that you have a disability, because all I know is that when we play Connect 4, none of that matters anymore. During those lunch times, you teach me more about being human than a Truman Show could ever know. But Stefan, I don't know if you fully understand that I'm in grade 12, and that right now I'm fighting to be in a place that doesn't include you. Stefan, I don't know if you know that losing friendships like ours terrifies me more than whether or not I make it there. And that sometimes I can't help but stare to make sure the memory of you is engraved into my brain, just like how my name was engraved into yours before we even met. Stefan, I want you to know that I crack jokes just to hear you chuckle God's breath, that if there's any God left, he sends tests like you to prove that life is worth living, because life is worth living. You give yourself to the 110th percent with the innocence that not even time could bend. You heal bad days in ways not even time could mend. You fix broken hearts with the grace of, I'll always be there for you, Eugene. Just visit room 356. After all, what are best buddies for? And that's a part of it. So yeah.
Eugene, I'm gonna cry.